recipes online trying to copy this that are all a disaster. This one actually works. Trying to do this so you can see it. Just get rid of those cores. You can see the pieces are not super fine. They're not super small. They break up a little bit. You don't want them minced, but you don't want giant chunks either. You want medium. Put butter in the pan, and then we're going to start sauteing the onions. Okay, now we have the process. Slicing the potatoes. I washed them, but I didn't peel them. I have a mandolin with a ceramic blade that has a preset of 3mm on it. This is what we're cutting. We've got to repeat it for all the potatoes we're going to need. Okay, I've transferred this to the blender now. I'm going to add an ounce of olive oil and a teaspoon of salt. Rinse these in warm temperature water. Slightly warmer is okay. 2 times. I'm going to do this twice. Drain them, rinse them one more time. Okay, I've got the springform pan. I'm putting a piece of parchment paper that we cut for it inside. A little bit of olive oil, just to make sure that the potatoes don't stick to the parchment either. This is going to be quite a sticky batch here when we're done. Okay, that's good. And then we'll start layering them in circles, overlapping. Okay, after you finish the first layer, try to find some of the smaller ones to do the same sort of thing with the next layer. Get creative here. The point is that you want to make sure that you have an even coating across the surface there you're happy with. You might have to play around with it a little bit to get something that looks pretty even. It's okay. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We have this mixture. I went to the blender. This is our first layer. We're going to have a total of 4 layers. Now, how much to put here? This is a little bit difficult. You need enough that when it runs through from being heated that it's going to cover all the potatoes. You don't want to make it into a gloopy mess, but you would definitely want to have a good amount, so just kind of follow this amount. Okay, also notice that I began going in one direction. I'm putting the next layer in the opposite direction, and now I got the second layer. I'm going to do the same thing. Just put enough that you know when this gets hot, this is all going to bubble up in between these potatoes. Okay, dividing the mixture up so that I have... Now when you get to the last layer, you only put the ring on the outside. Don't put it in the middle, because the middle has been stacked higher this whole time, and otherwise you'll end up with something uneven. This will help it stand upright. And also, if you've used too much of your filling in the middle, which I use slightly too much, you can use the top layer, just put a little bit of olive oil on it. Now I've got the other paper parchment ring that I cut. It's going to go in here. And then over the top of that is foil. And then this is going to begin the first part of the cooking to get those potatoes soft before we start browning them. The first stage is first cooking and getting them all kind of mushed together into a single cohesive piece. And it's going to go in the oven now. Okay, it's finished cooking now, and I let it cool off for quite a long time. You always got to watch out for. Now, just to be safe, I'm going to run a knife along the edge here, although it should be okay. You never know. So you want to make sure you don't end up with tearing the whole thing apart because it wasn't completely free. Okay, that looks fine. Now here's where the springform pan pays off. This is going to make life a lot easier. Take a plate. Remember, the other end of the springform pan is still here. We're going to take a plate and carefully invert it. Let me pull this off. Don't forget, you got parchment on the other side here too. Classic mistake people make. Oh, that's why the top is all crusty. Yeah, it's because you still got the parchment on the top of it. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty oily. That's okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to leave it on this plate. We're going to let it cool completely. I'm going to stick it in the fridge. Let it sit like this, get really nice and cool before we roast it the second time. And then that way we won't have any problems with it falling apart. Okay, I put this in the freezer with a plastic wrap over it for about half an hour. And I'm transferring it to the pan. We got the oven preheated now, and it's going to go in just a second. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.